When I'm flying in a plane or I'm on the street, there's a lot of friendly people that I like to meet. They shake my hand but never ask my name, and they start asking questions that are always the same. Hey, what's Michael J. Fox like? Nice. What's Christopher Lloyd like? Very handsome. What's Leah Thompson like? Hot. Stop asking me the question. I went to my bar mitzvah of my nephew Josh. Well, I'm not Jewish, but I like to nosh. I put on my yarmulke, started to pray, when the rabbi leaned over and I heard him say, hey, was that real manure? No, it wasn't. How was that DeLorean? A piece of garbage. Do those hoverboards really fly? It's a movie. Stop asking me the question. Can we take your picture? Come on, look mean. Would you call my friend a butthead on my video machine? No. Questions, questions fill my head. I went to my doctor. My doctor said, hey, what does a key grip do? Set up lights. What does the best boy do? Help the key grip. What does a producer do? I don't know. Stop asking me the question. Who's the nicest famous guy you know? Matt Damon. Who is the biggest jerk? Gary Busey. How much money do you make? More than you do. Stop asking me the question. I just thought save some time early on in the panic. I've decided now, after I sing, that I'm going to wave like the Pope.
Dude,
who are you?
I'm Fred.
Oh.
I middled for you like 10 years ago at a stand-up club in Edmonton.
Oh, Fred! You were great at that. You had the microphone, right? Yeah, microphone Fred.
So, Leah was saying yesterday that you were the holdout of getting the whole crew together to do panels at like comic conventions. But dude, you're killing it out here. Why would you not want to come and do this all the time?
Him? I'm like totally into it, and then he showed up. You know, it was not a thing. I work. You know, I sort of work. You know, like you have jobs, right? Where you make money and you do stuff, and they expect you to like be there like the next Monday and work or travel to places and work. So I was doing a lot of things. I was writing. I was performing. You know, I've performed my own things, both stand-up and theater pieces that I've written for my whole career. So I was working in television and movies and writing and doing a lot of things. So I didn't, honestly, I didn't know like how this works, what you do, what is expected of you, who come. I knew nothing about it. So I was increasingly getting emails from people, but increasingly they were saying, why do you hate us? What do you mean, why do I hate you? Why do you hate your fans? Why don't you come out here? I don't, you know, I'm working. I'm on a TV show. I'm working. I can't do it. So I just, I made questions to people, literally like, what do you do there? Like, what happens? What is it? And so I've tried to come out. Thank you, Leah, for blaming me. Did that make sense, or was I babbling on?
Yeah, by the way, I've heard that Leah is sitting out there somewhere. It disturbs me that she's abandoned us and hiding out there judging us. You know what I'm saying?
She has been cosplaying that Suicide Squad girl. I know that, so look around.
Well, maybe she's just doing her homework.
I don't know. Maybe she's here.
By the way,
never know.
if you guys got questions, stick your hands up as we discussed earlier so that we can get there.
So that Fred can call on you.
That's right. Pressure. Something else she was talking about yesterday was about the possibility of a musical being done. And we were backstage. Mr. Lloyd, you said that you were working on some theater projects right now. And then you didn't say what they were. So is that what's actually going on?
Well, no, I wasn't talking about the Back to the Future musical at the time, but there is real. I mean, it's I think a real production that's going to open in London. That's the latest I heard. Maybe not tomorrow, but it's in motion. Music's been written and all that. I haven't heard anything about casting, so I'm a little bit pissed.
So,
but that's just me, you know.
Tom, your character Biff is, for all small people like myself, the epitome of terrifying high school bully.
Come on, I'm not terrifying. Stand up.
But you're always so nice, and I'm wondering, like, if being like put in that bubble of bully, did it like affect you psychologically and personally?
Not at all. It's affected my life in a very deep way that is almost impossible to describe. I mean, the magnitude of it. But yeah, I was pushed around by bullies a lot when I was young. I was very small. I was sick. I missed a lot of school. I would come back to school and get pushed around a lot. So to play Back to the Future was the first audition I'd ever had to play a bully. So it was very disconcerting to begin acting, to begin trying to make a scene real with a person and push them around like that. It was very difficult for me. So it's been an interesting path to in your relatively early 20s to meet people for the intervening 33 years and have them say, when you meet them at a barbecue, "I hate you." You say, well, it's a movie. It's fake. They've got like a table with Twizzlers right there. You just, it's a fake thing. But I hate you. So it's an interesting thing to have lived through and thought about. But also there have been many positive things. Many people who have been bullied in their lives have heard about my stories about being bullied, and they have reached out to me, so I've been able to communicate with many people that have experienced all sorts of different bullying in their lives. And as everyone knows here, many of us, probably all of us in different ways, have been bullied. You can use that to become a bitter person and to harden your heart, or you can use it to grow compassion and mercy and a more understanding of the people around you in order to reach out in an even better way. So it has been a challenge, but it's been something where I've been able to, I think, reach out and try to help people with. Does that make sense?
Totally, man.
So you do a lot of voiceover work, and I'd actually like to know a little bit more about that and what the process is for that as an actor, and just like to think about that sort of thing.
Process to what?
Voiceover work.
Uh-huh.
Do you do that sort of thing?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that, and I used to have an attitude about it. I'm supposed to be an actor, where all 175 pounds of me is on screen or on stage doing my acting thing. Voiceover, I couldn't really conceive of it. Maybe it was a little bit like how you felt about Comic-Cons before you got started with it.
You mean just a lack of understanding. You just don't know.
It's foreign.
Right.
But as I went along, first I discovered that doing a voice ain't just standing there reading lines and saying things. You got to get as emotionally into it as you do when you're fully yourself acting a part. You got to have the feeling in the voice that's written, and so I find myself doing all kinds of stuff to get that energy up to achieve that. And then I started enjoying it. It became more interesting. And also, if not just me, but they'll often film an actor who's doing voiceover work because you can't help but start gesticulating. And if they already haven't drawn the animation, they'll look at that and put it into the character, use it for the character.
Often now at a session of voiceover work, they'll have a little camera that is just looking at your face, so that the animator can look not only hear the way that you said the line, but see how your face moved if you're doing the comedy right, if you're doing the passion, anger right in that way. So they want to see that. Years ago in voiceover, the animators had a lot of the power. They would animate the cartoon, send it to the actors, and the actors would look at the cartoon and have headphones and be trying to match what the animators had animated. Many shows, SpongeBob SquarePants, a show that I've done a lot of, many shows thought, well, the actors are going to bring a spark of creativity to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to record the script before we animate it. So we're going to let the actors on a SpongeBob script. We'll do a take, which is the words on the page. And then they'll say, okay, let's do a little bit looser one, and you can do a little more timing things, or you can wait, or you can, just a little bit of hot sauce in it. And then they'll do one, okay, everyone just go crazy. Because they've got the one that's the script, so we're safe. We've got one that's a little bit exploring different things, so we're good. And now, maybe something happens that's really funny. Maybe a crazy thing happens. So just go for it. And then we have it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a very creative process where you're just making up things, coming up with improvisational comedy. And, they don't keep all of it, but that little thing they'll keep and this little piece they'll keep to put it together, then give it to the animators to make the cartoon. So it's changed a lot over the years, and many people, friends of mine are here, John DiMaggio, Jim Cummings. I mean, so the talented actors, many people come up, and it's very understandable. I do funny voices. I should be in cartoons. If you listen to the cartoons, you'll hear a voice, but it'll be grounded in a character. They're actually excellent actors, as well as, making the funny sounds or making the big voice or the little voice. They're really very good because they're creating a character out of nothing that you can sense with just your ears. So it's difficult work, and they're gifted people.
That's like Peter Sellers always used to build the voice first and the character from that after.
Yeah, many people.
Now you were talking about like becoming the character and finding that character and bringing them to life. The versions of your respective characters you guys played in the Back to the Future movies was the first version you created as an actor, same to what we got on the screen.
Well, right.
Does he know what he's talking about?
No, Chris, it's fine. Watch this. Good question, Fred. Yes. Creating the character of Doc, right? Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? I'll take a shot. Okay.
No,
I got you. Okay.
So, no.
It's going really well.
I'll try to keep it like that. No, Doc, after I kind of got into the script and read it a few times, he's just like on a mission every second. If he's not, he's inventing this. In the opening shots, you see he's got an automatic dog feeder, decans, and he's got clocks all over the place, incredible sound system. I mean, he's full of technology and improving on it. So, and the time machine is huge. I mean, imagine if you come up with a time machine and you can transport yourself anywhere, in the past, in the future, and in another cosmos, maybe. It's like, but if you make a mistake and you're not real quick in correcting it, the entire universe collapses. I rest my case.
Now, I will talk about my creation of my character.
That was so insightful. Oh my God.
You left, yes, that's wonderful, and that's what you get. When you're creating a character, you get words on a page. Words on a page. And of course, the writing is incredibly important. They say if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. But they're words. It's up to you to create everything else about the character. What kind of voice will he have? How will he move? How will he hold his shoulders? How will he walk? What's his background?
What he wears.
What he wears.
Makeup.
Yes, how much makeup you're going to do. So that is all layer upon layer upon layer of building characters like that. So I was just doing Biff. I was doing an impression, basically, of the bullies who had tormented me. You know, I wanted to make it funny, but not that funny. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a great challenge there. That was the big challenge of Biff. A buffoon who is dangerous. A comic character who is actually a bad guy that we don't like. Because you know, you recognize in the movie, if I'm not doing all that stuff, when George McFly, in my opinion, you know, I know it's a movie about a young man and a scientist, and they're working with a time machine. A lot of the heart of the movie, to me, is George McFly standing up for his life, standing up to this bully. Because when the audience, the big reaction, in that movie, Biff has to be upsetting Lorraine. This has to all turn in that car where the whole audience thinks, wait a minute, this is wrong. It's not buffoon. This is not funny. He's got to stop this. And that's why it's so, you know, that one beautiful silence of the audience when Crispin, George McFly says, no, Biff, you leave her alone. You know, and then I get out of the car and that whole thing, but that's such tension that couldn't be built if it hadn't been laid in the foundation of the story. You know, does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
And that's what created the big cheer. I get knocked out, one punch. When guys this size punch me, I don't get knocked unconscious, okay? But I get punched and the audience goes crazy. Hooray! Which my mom was so happy about. She thought I should be playing a handsome prince in movies and things like that. And she goes to the movie, and whenever I'm on the screen, the music turns like, dun, 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 dun. You know, what? I'm gonna get knocked out and everybody cheers. Well, what can you do?
Hi. Over here.
Hello.
First, just on the topic of voice work, I just wanted to say to Christopher Lloyd, before I was old enough to see Back to the Future, I loved you in The Page Master and Cyber Chase. But then my question is for Tom about Back to the Future. So obviously on top of Biff, like you played a bunch of other characters like Griff and Buford and then all the different iterations of Biff. So which of those, either the versions of Biff or one of the other characters, which one do you think was the most fun for you to portray?
I think for both Chris and I, if I may, because I'm from Philadelphia. I've ridden the subway in my life and buses, not a horse. You know, I hadn't had guns or a holster, but I saw all those movies, John Wayne movies, The Lone Ranger, all television shows, cowboys. Who wouldn't want to play a big gunslinging cowboy in a Hollywood Western? It was a thrill. Now, the other characters, of course, were a great challenge and fun to play and everything. But when they told me, now, in the third one, you're going to be a gunslinger, and you have to go off and you have to learn how to quick draw the Colt Peacemaker and how to ride a horse, how to rope, how to spin the rope above your head on a galloping horse, I just thought, wow, that's scary, but sounds like fun. So it was wonderful. I got to learn how riding a horse from a man, Corky Randall, who rode stunts with John Wayne. You know, in those old John Ford, the director movies, he taught John Ford how to ride. My friend Ben Scott, stuntman, taught me how to rope above my head and all that kind of stuff. So those wonderful Western skills were just a lot of fun. Because guys maybe ladies, you don't understand this kind of a guy thing. But what guy doesn't want to wear spurs and walk into a saloon, you know? I just, like, you have that thing. You know that door of the saloon with the two-door thing? I mean, who doesn't like, ching, 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 you know, behind, thump, thump, thump. And everyone clears the tables aside, like, he's here. Oh, my God. And you're just because you're standing there. That's pretty cool.
I'm over here, sir.
Way in the back, over here.
Aha.
One of the funniest things that's ever happened in sitcom comedy was the scene in Taxi with What Does the Yellow Light Do? I think it's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. But I want to know how much of that was on the page and how much of that was you taking it longer and funnier and longer and funnier.
Well, that's an interesting question of that particular line, because I think that was my first show, my first as a regular in Taxi. I had done as a guest about 2 months before that, which was my first time in a sitcom. And I'd always kind of pledged to myself that I would never do a sitcom. I was an actor in New York with certain attitudes about being in New York and being an actor that a lot of people carried out to the West Coast from New York. They loathed fucking LA. But they were out there to make enough money doing TV or movies to go back to New York and do theater. So it was a little bit duplicitous. I'm meandering. Getting back to that taxi line, on Friday of every week, they'd have a final rehearsal during the afternoon and break around 6. Everybody get a quick dinner and get back. The audience comes in like 7:30 or something like that. Once in a while in a show, they would get to it's time to break now, but something isn't working and they got to figure it out before the audience comes in. It's like a crisis. And that scene, What Does the Yellow Light Mean? They couldn't figure out how to put a button on it, how to complete it, or how to end it in some kind of way that worked. So I'm sitting down there, this is a new realm for me, and everybody, they've got to come up with a solution. And somebody would suggest this, so we'd shoot it. Didn't work. And this went on about 4 or 5 times, and somebody, and it didn't matter who said it. It could be the janitor or anyone. Somebody come up with a line, and somebody came up with that line at that moment, and they tried it, and it worked. And so it's doubly memorable to me the way it came about, because it was sort of accidental.
If you haven't seen it, young people, look it up somewhere, because if you know, like Lucille Ball going to the Chocolate Factory and those classic television comedy pieces of all time, that is certainly one of them. I mean, it's just hysterical. You know, he says, He reads he goes to everybody, name. They have to give him his name. Jim Ignatowski. They say, what's on the test? He says, I thought that was the test.
Yeah, great writing, by the way.
Great writing. Very funny.
Those writers got to come up every week for 22, 24 weeks, at least the way it used to be, with a new script. And they have to, it has to work. And it's amazing.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Oh, over here. Sorry, I didn't know. I would just like to ask you guys, what were your opinions on when the Chicago Cubs made it to the World Series and prediction in Back to the Future #2, because that was actually pretty awesome. Like watching it what happened and then like living to 20 for this time and seeing it, it was just crazy. What do you guys think about that?
I just remember that when the Cubs won the first game in the playoffs, was it?
Yes.
That was like, because you figure they're going to win the World Series. Okay, that's another prediction in the Back to the Future or whatever. Sure. And then they win that first playoff game, and it was something like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Now, it was a year off. It was a year off. Because the previous year, I was working in Las Vegas, and I was doing stand-up comedy in Las Vegas. My friend says, listen, would you do me a favor? You won't want to do it, but would you do me a favor? I said, yeah, okay, well, what is it? He says, it's 2015. If I give you $100, would you take it to the sports book and bet $100 on the Chicago Cubs?
That's great.
So he lost $100.
Okay, so the creators of the Back to the Future movies said there won't be a Back to the Future 4 or a reboot of any sort. But I was wondering if either of you feel that your characters might have room to, say, do other types of science fiction or themes or genres of movies that they were doing something else. A new story, but with the same characters.
I always felt Biff was a dancer. So if there was another one, I would just hope they would explore that part of his heart. You know what I mean? Go inside a little bit. I don't know. Do you see the Back to the Future universe, whatever it is, going to other iterations at some point, doing other stories?
There's a possibility.
I think it's a possibility, sir. Honestly, at this point, I really don't think that either of these two dudes will be around. I will be playing a lovely harp somewhere, and he will have these horns going. I don't.
You said no, remember?
Yes. Oh, I should have been nicer to Tom. No, I don't think it's going to happen for quite a long time, because I think the filmmakers dedicated themselves to protecting those three movies. So if we were going to do three of them, especially back to back, the first studio that had ever done that, we want you to do two and then three right afterwards. Well, if we're going to do that, then we're going to leave it as this trilogy that people can remember and think, boy, that was great. We don't need to recast Marty 4 different ways and, and take this kind of the slud down. Oh, that was pretty good. And then this one was, I'll see that on Netflix, whatever, as they all go. I'm so glad that Back to the Future is something that we can all think back on and just think, wasn't that great? That was great.
Yeah.
This is going to be our last question.
Oh, because Fred's the boss. Ooh. Pardon me, I'm sorry, buddy, I didn't hear you.
Doc, can you say Great Scott?
Oh, a little boy wants you to say Great Scott for him.
Great Scott!
Tom Wilson, Christopher Lloyd, everybody.
Thank you very much for coming, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be in my hotel room playing the ukulele.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of Fan Expo Canada 2018. Join the conversation below with a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.